Good morning, everyone. I'd like to bring this meeting of the Education Finance Division to order. We have a presentation from the department to start us off, and then we have two bills before the committee today. I would ask at this point, Ms., I'm going to get this wrong, you all know it, Orlean and Mr. Cortez, Assistant Orline. See, I told you I'd get it wrong.
You're right.
And I'll correct it on my notes, and I will still get it wrong. So my apologies. Welcome to the committee. I appreciate your taking time with us today. Who is going to start off? Ms. Orline, if you would please introduce yourself for the tape and begin your testimony. Thank you for coming.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Sheila Orline, and I am a supervisor in the Nutrition, Health, and Youth Development Division at the Minnesota Department of Education. I am also the state coordinator of the federal 21st Century Community Learning Center grant program. I'm here to provide an overview of that program for you all this morning. The 21st Century Community Learning Center grant program is Title IV, Part B of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. The program was updated and reauthorized under the Every Student Succeeds Act in December of 2015. The purpose of the program is to support after-school and summer learning opportunities for students who attend high-poverty, low-performing schools. A community learning center offers programs to students to help them meet state academic standards, enrichment activities that complement and reinforce the school day program, and literacy programs and other engagement opportunities for the family members of the students that are participating in the programs. Effective 21st Century Community Learning Centers provide high-quality after-school and summer learning programs that are intentionally designed to meet the needs of the local community. Schools and community organizations are expected to work together to make sure the activities that are offered align with state academic standards and complement the school day program. And finally, 21st Century Community Learning Centers must collect and use data to improve their programs and measure impact. Each state receives funds based on its share of Title I funding for low-income students. So it's a formula that takes into account the amount of Title I funding that comes to Minnesota. Minnesota's allocation for federal fiscal year 18 was just over $12 million. The chart on the right shows the annual allocation amounts that Minnesota has received since the program began in 2002. States can use up to 2% of the allocation to cover administrative costs. These are typically the costs associated with making and managing grant awards. Up to 5% may be used for state activities such as monitoring, evaluation, and capacity building activities for grantees. No less than 93% of our allocation must be used to support grants. So for the fiscal year 2018 allocation, Minnesota will spend no less than $11,464,822 to support grants across the state. Any public or private organization is eligible to apply for a grant. This includes nonprofit organizations, for-profit entities, local units of government, Minnesota's 11 federally recognized tribes and American Indian organizations, colleges and universities, and even other state agencies. For example, at one time we funded a community learning center at the Red Wing Correctional Facility, and so we had a grant with the Department of Corrections. Individuals, however, are not eligible to apply for a grant, and not eligible to apply or receive a grant. States are required to give priority to applicants that propose, this is very technical language, but that propose to primarily serve students who attend schools that are identified for targeted and comprehensive support. So that would be the schools that are identified using the North Star system, as well as applications that are jointly submitted by a school that receives Title I funding and a community-based organization. States may also establish their own priorities. In Minnesota, we award priority points to applications that serve students in middle and high school.
Children's Defense Fund.
Grants are awarded using a peer review process. Reviewers are recruited from across the state. We look for reviewers with experience related to education, after-school and summer learning programs, and program evaluation, and other relevant areas of expertise. Applications are also reviewed and scored by young people in Minnesota. Members of the Minnesota Youth Council, supported by staff from the Minnesota Alliance with Youth, have been engaged in the review process for the past several years. Grants may be awarded for no less than 3 years and no more than 5 years. The minimum grant award in law is $50,000 a year, and there is no maximum award amount identified in the law. To date, Minnesota has held 7 grant competitions since the program started in 2002. These are very competitive grants. As you can see on the chart on the right side of the slide, we are able to fund, on average, about 25% of the proposals we receive. This is a list of our current grantees. They are in cohorts 6 and 7. There are 13 grantees in cohort 6. These grants were awarded in 2014 and will be ending later this year. Cohort 7 has 14 grantees. These grants were awarded in 2017. The majority of our grantees, if you look at the chart, you'll see that the majority of our grantees are school districts. Typically, the grants run through their community education departments. And each of these districts works with at least one other community-based organization or partner. Just for reference, we make sure that grants are awarded all across the state, and these maps show you where our cohort 6 and cohort 7 grantees are located. In the 2017-2018 program year, so a program year is summer and then the following school year. So it's the summer of 2017 and then the 2017-2018 school year. Grantees served 23,099 students. One of the world's best workforce goals is to eliminate all racial and economic achievement gaps between students. The 21st Century Program is intended to provide additional supports to students who are most likely to be represented in the racial and economic gaps that exist in Minnesota. This chart shows how well our grantees are doing at engaging the students that need the support most. Now I'd like to share some information on the impact that the 21st Century Community Learning Center program has on participants. Our evaluation of the program looks at 3 areas of impact for students. Are they engaged in learning and connected to school and community? Are they supported by qualified and caring adults? And are they challenged academically and prepared for success in college and career? To measure the impact on students, we look at student experiences in the programs using a tool called the Survey of Academic and Youth Outcomes, sometimes called the SAO. We look for positive changes in school day attendance as well, and state assessment results and other academic data. We will also be looking at the impact of the program on family members. Are family members welcomed, respected, and included? Are they engaged in program advisory groups? How well are they engaged in programs that support parental involvement and family literacy? For the impact on family members, we will look at the results of parent surveys and participation information that's included when grantees submit their annual program reports. We're still in the process of reviewing and analyzing our data from the 2017-18 program year. But here are some of the things that we have learned about the impact of the program.
Ms. Orline, if you could pause for just a moment. Representative Detmer has a question, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking at on page 8, or excuse me, page 6, your current grantees, do you ever get any applications from like homeschool organizations or charter schools or, pardon? Or private schools? Yes.
Ms. Orline.
Mr. Chair, Representative, yes, I can't speak to whether or not homeschool organizations have applied. We, over the last, since the program started in 2002, we've received 673 applications. And I would need to go back and look to see if anyone from a homeschool organization has applied. We have received applications from private schools, charter schools. We have made awards to charter schools, and there have been private schools that have been jointly submitting partners or at least community-based partners to a grant recipient. The law requires that applicants do consultation, just like they do with all of the rest of the title programs, with the private non-public schools in their area. So we know that we have had participants from non-public schools participate in our 21st century programs. I can look to see about the homeschool and private school applications if you would like.
Okay.
Representative Detmer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Orline, please continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said, we are in the process of reviewing and analyzing data from the 17-18 program year, and here are some of the things that we have learned about the impact of the programs. Most students report that participation in the 21st century program has helped them do better in school and try harder in school. Students also report that they feel supported by the adults in their programs. The requirement for collaboration with schools allows us to link program participation information to school performance information. For example, we can look at the relationship between program participation in a 21st century program and proficiency on state math assessments to show the academic impact of the program. And you can see that we're seeing a statistically significant relationship between frequency of participation and moving from not proficient to proficient on math exams. Additionally, students see the programs as a place that they can go to try out new things and find out what they are good at and what they like to do. So we think towards college and career readiness. Having a space where young people can try out some things is good. We see the 21st Century Community Learning Center program as an important tool in the effort to eliminate racial and economic gaps and help students be prepared for careers in college. The program targets the students most likely to experience these gaps and gives them more time learning, more connections to qualified and caring adults, and more opportunities to explore options for their futures. That concludes my presentation this morning. I hope it has been informative and useful for this committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm happy to take any additional questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Orline. I've got, I think, two questions. One, on page 9, the slide on grant program impact, on the family members' lower level, the last box is engaged in programs that support parental involvement and literacy. No reference to numeracy. And is that an MDE priority? Is that from the federal legislation? Because then later on the last slide, you talk about enhanced math achievement. So I'm just trying to put those together. Can you help me there?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes. The law specifically says that programs are to provide services, provide family literacy services to the family members of, it specifically calls out literacy. When it comes to, and so that's for family members, so adult family members of participating students. That could be parents, guardians, grandparents, just that's who that's for. The math achievement, we're directed to improve the academic performance of students in core academic areas, which would include English and language arts, math, science, and other areas, specifically the areas that the local program has identified as a need. So not all of our programs identify math improvement as their area. Some of them are looking to improve their outcomes in STEM or reading, things like that. But yes, so that's the difference. The family programming is very specific about family literacy and engagement, and then the student outcomes are more related to their academic performance.
Thank you for that clarification. I hadn't tracked that on the initial presentation. And then one last question for me, and then there are committee members with questions. The awardees, the recipients of the awards, what are the outcome measures that you receive from them? You've clearly got some, and is there any forum where they are brought together to exchange best practices, share the experiences, what's working to enhance each other's work?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that question. Our grantees come together at least 2 times a year in person. So we bring them together for in the fall and in the spring. In some instances, it's connected to an event like a conference. In other instances, it's just our grantees coming together to be able to share information. We also hold monthly webinar information sessions, and grantees are invited to participate in those and share information about what's working in their programs and what isn't working in their programs. We work really hard to connect the grantees with one another and then with strategic partners to enhance and support their efforts to run effective programs. So, we bring them together quite a bit. As far as the outcome measures, as I said, we look at the areas of, are they engaged in learning? Do they have, do the programs have qualified and caring adults that the students feel like they're being supported by, and then are they being challenged academically? So we're looking at measures around academic performance. It could be performance on the Minnesota State assessments. It could be other ways of looking at academics. It could be grades. It could be school attendance and those kinds of things. Some of that is left up to the grant recipients because it's really about meeting their local needs.
Right.
Is that?
Yes, no, that's very helpful. Thank you, Ms. Orlean. Representative Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Ms. Orlean, for your thorough presentation of the 21st Century Grant Program. My question is in regard to slide 11, where you say that preliminary analysis shows this significant and positive impact on math proficiency. So could you explain the process? For example, do you select some of the awardees and track MCA scores, or do you look at all the awardees and look at MCA scores and how they compare from year to year during the award? And then will there be a final analysis at the end of the grant?
Ms. Orlean.
Mr. Chair, Representative, I am not the evaluator on the program, so I'm trying to think of how to describe the process. We do look at all of our participants, and then we collect information from grantees that helps us understand the frequency of participation of the students. So we would look at we ask folks to tell us how often a student has participated in the program, how many days of participation, and then we look at the relationship between more frequent participation and less frequent participation to the federal GIPRA measure around students moving from being not proficient to proficient in their state assessments. So we would be looking at all of our participants, with a special emphasis on sort of finding those relationships. And so we are seeing that when kids come more often, when students are able to participate in the programming more often, they perform better. So we will be producing our annual performance report. It's usually available in late May, early June. We're sorting through lots of pieces of information and trying to make sense of them. So it takes us a little bit of time to get all of those data finalized. But I will definitely, the report will be available on our website, and I can make sure that everybody has access to it once it's finalized.
Thank you. Representative Erickson.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the follow-up. So, Ms. Orlean, if I look at the MCA scores for some of these Cohort 6 awardees, will I be able to credit some of the improvement, if there is, in the math MCAs to this program, or would that be a leap?
Ms. Orlean.
Mr. Chair, Representative, that's a really good question. I think that depending on the school, a 21st Century Community Learning Center may only be serving a very small percentage of the student body, and therefore I wouldn't feel comfortable attributing an entire school's worth of data to this specific program. Also, I would just add, the 21st Century Community Learning Center program is intended to provide enrichment opportunities and supports and not direct instruction. They receive direct instruction during the school day, and they have opportunities in the after-school programs to contextualize what they're learning, to receive supports that we feel help improve the conditions for learning. So when they go to school and receive really excellent instruction there, they're better able to process that instruction, receive that instruction, and perform. So I wouldn't feel very comfortable sort of attributing school day success solely to after-school programming, but I would say that high-quality after-school program participation contributes to success, and in some instances we won't get to sort of 100% of our students being proficient without providing supports that help kids do better in school.
Representative Erickson.
Mr. Chair, yes, one final question. So Senator Uyghur and I in 2015 visited 21st Century AIF program in Nashville, Tennessee, under NCSL. And what we observed and were thrilled to see was a tutorial program that went on during the after-school program to help these students who were participating, and these were 21st Century Grant Awards, to increase their achievement in both reading and math. And we found that to be very beneficial, and hope to know that this was also happening in districts in Minnesota, especially school districts, where the award was received. So, maybe that's something we can promote. Thank you, though, for the answers.
Thank you, Representative Erickson. Mr. Corte, do you have additional testimony on? No, just a pretty face.
Just here to answer any questions you might have.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Assistant Commissioner Corte, Ms. Orlean, thank you both very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
With that, Representative Lee. Representative Lee, as folks are settling in, Representative Hewitt, would you like to move House File 907 to be before to be held over for possible inclusion in the a future omnibus bill?
I would, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you, Representative Hewitt. Representative Lee, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your bill presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members, for hearing this important bill. House File 907 is a statewide initiative supported by many organizations that work together through the state's after-school network called Ignite After School. The purpose of House File 907 is to expand high-quality after-school programs to thousands of low-income students who might not otherwise have the means to participate in youth enrichment activities. We're asking for a major investment from the state, $12 million each year, which would cover the unfunded requests for federal 21st century community learning grants that funds that you guys just heard about. I believe that this bill will close opportunity gaps and ensure that low-income young people in rural, suburban, and large cities gain access to activities that reinforce and complement their regular academic programs. We envision collaborative efforts in many communities that will keep kids safe, inspire young people to learn, and support working families. I know what high quality after school can do for young people through my own experiences. And I just want to share that, throughout my middle school years when I was going through the education system, I was part of the Beacons program, a collaborative initiative between schools, community, and families to improve academic, social, and life work development for youth in low-income communities. And during this time, many of my peers were getting into trouble such as physical altercations, or they were having truancy issues. But it was because of my program mentor through the Beacons program, who happens to be a probation officer, that helped steer me to where I'm at today. Throughout the programming, he shared with my program cohort the consequences of fighting and not attending schools, connected us to his former students who were thriving in high school, and provided a safe space for us to learn about our identity as young Hmong American women and men. I can attribute my academic success and aspirations for higher education to both my program mentor and the Beacons program. And with me today are several people who want to share their own insights on why this bill is important to them and their communities. My final testifier and I will get into the nuts and bolts of the bill, but at this time I will ask the committee to hear from some of our testifiers, and I have the Mayor of Brooklyn Park, Mayor Lundy, to go first.
Thank you, Representative Lee. Mayor, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Jeff Lundy, Mayor, City of Brooklyn Park, also faculty member at Hennepin Technical College. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you to talk about something I'm very passionate about, which is after school. In Brooklyn Park, we had a challenge. We had youth crime that was growing. We were struggling to find a way to tackle it. And what we embarked upon was an idea that if we start providing after-school activities, that we can lower crime. The program was wildly successful. We increased participation by 60%. Crime went down 40%. In the target hours of after school, those 2 hours when kids are out and about, it went down even more. But what we found is we engaged more into it. Crime was an outcome. The cause was lack of hope and lack of opportunity. And so what we found is if we really wanted to tackle the root cause of what was crime and this hopelessness, we had to provide activities that allowed people to have that. You can't buy hope. It doesn't show up at the supermarket. You have to create the opportunity for our kids to feel that inside so they feel value. When people feel value, they tend to do better in school. We started a program called the Brooklyn Bridge Alliance, which is rather unique. It's 4 school districts, Robbinsdale, Brooklyn Center, Anoka Hennepin, Osseo School District, 2 cities, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Hennepin County. We now are joined by Hennepin Technical College and North Hennepin Community College. And also we expect in the next few months to have the building trades join us as well. It is all designed to make the kids, youth, the focus of our activities, not about each governmental institution taking a piece of the pie, but actually putting everything into them. What we found is if we can provide opportunities, if we can provide hope, that good things happen. And so we know that if we do that, we have used these grants to provide that after school activities. We really metric. I cannot sense there are only about 5 organizations really in the nation that do that whole continuum. And what we do really well is we measure everything. We measure every aspect of it, the programs, because you can have a program, but effectiveness is not the same as doing something. Is it effective? And so we really embark upon that mission, that what we can do with that. I will only share a personal story. So when we started Zanewood years ago, I was the only vote against it. And I said I voted against it because I thought it was a feel-good motion that really wasn't going to do anything except make people, politicians, feel good about themselves. And I said, if you prove that it works, I'll be your biggest fan. I've been its biggest fan for a number of years. I'm here testifying today. I'm here to tell you that I was the only vote. And I do believe fully in this program. I've seen what it can do for kids and youth. I can see what it can do for communities and schools. I know that with the support of this, with the leverage that we will provide behind these grants, that our organization, other organizations across the state are going to do great things. And so I would just ask that you give it due consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Representative Lee, on my list, I have Ms. Zastro next. Long Prairie Gray Eagle.
Great school.
Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and
Thank you.
proceed with your testimony.
My name is Mary Zastro, and I serve as a program director for an after-school program in the Long Prairie Gray Eagle School District, located in central Minnesota. I am pleased to share information with you about the students we serve, the activities we offer, and the partnerships that we have developed. Our program is funded by a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant, which, as you heard, is a federal program for after-school and out-of-school time. Awards are very competitive and limited in numbers, as you heard. House File 907 is somewhat similar to the federal program. Our program is built upon a quality framework. It incorporates best practice programs, research-based practices, and complements the regular school day. It serves students at both the elementary and the secondary level. Our student population is ethnically diverse. Currently, 53% of our elementary students are students of color, mainly from Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. 67% of our students are on free or reduced price lunch. 23% of our students are EL, English learners. Programming occurs during the school year as well as the summer months. Last year, our program served 405 students in the elementary and secondary centers. In the elementary, students attend 3 nights per week from 3 to 5:15 p.m. Average daily attendance is 125 students. Students receive academic support with homework, plus they participate in math and reading activities different from the school day, but aligned with the state standards. EL students receive small group instruction to improve English language skills. Enrichment programs include STEM and math clubs in both 5th and 6th grade. STEM clubs meet weekly and conduct a variety of science-related activities. Math clubs practice weekly and compete against other schools in math competitions. Programs offered on non-school days include robotics, drones, rocketry, sewing, and science. In cooperation with the elementary school, a dedicated makerspace room has been set up where students explore, construct, and build projects using a variety of supplies in the room. Busing is provided at the end of the program. Without busing, many students would be unable to attend, as many parents work at packing and meat processing plants. Their workday ends between 5 and 6 p.m. Our program provides a safe and enriching environment during those after-school hours. At the secondary level, students attend programs 3 days per week from 3 to 5:20 to receive academic support and participate in enrichment activities. Enrichment programs include chess club, cooking club, chamber choir, robotics club, knowledge bowl, archery, strength conditioning, and 2 leadership programs called Link and Web, where students select and plan out-of-school time activities for students and also mentor younger students in the building. During the summer, a 3-week academic program is offered for students in grades 1 through 9. Students work primarily on math and literacy skills. A variety of enrichment programs are offered, including week-long theater and engineering camps, robotics, drones, soccer, and MacGyver science. 9th through 12th grade students participate in a work-based learning program. Students complete a 30-hour course on selecting careers, writing resumes, applying for jobs, and interviewing for positions. Students are then placed at work sites throughout the community. A nursing assistant class is offered to students to become certified to work in a long-term care facility. A strategy we have used to expand opportunities for youth is to develop partnerships with other agencies and organizations serving youth in our communities. Partnerships are important for long-term sustainability and a cornerstone to create positive system change. We partner with our Targeted Services Program, which offers programming during after-school time and is funded through extended time revenues. We partner with our county public health department to provide dental varnishing and flu shots for our students. A partnership with our local hospital and community college allows us to offer the nursing assistant course. Students benefit by earning certification and 3 college credits upon completion of the course. A highlight of our upcoming summer program is a result of a partnership with our public library. The planetarium from the Bell Museum will be coming to Long Prairie Gray Eagle Elementary School. All summer school students will be able to visit the exhibit. A partnership with our business community has created training and work opportunities for students and future employees for businesses. Many students have been offered positions at the end of the summer program. A partnership with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation allowed a special needs student a life-changing opportunity. Shadowing and job coaching allowed a student named Isaac to develop proficient job skills. At completion of the work program, he was offered a part-time position. 3 months later, he was offered a full-time position and continues to work in the position today, possibly for a lifetime. In closing, access to high-quality academic and enrichment programs for our students would be very limited without federal or state funding. Our federal funding ends in August 2019. We feel we are strategically positioned to continue efforts to strengthen student learning and development, but there is no guarantee of future federal funding. I urge you to support House File 907.
Thank you, Ms. Astro. Members who have questions, I think what I'd like to do is let Representative Lee's testifiers all present, and then we'll come back to any questions that you may have. So jot down the names of the folks if you've got specific questions for any of them. Next on my list is Ms. Wright-Collins, and after that, Ms. Yang. Ms. Wright-Collins, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Jenny Collins. I'm the executive director of the Minneapolis Beacons Network and the YMCA on the campus of the University of Minnesota. I'm pleased to speak on behalf of Ys around the region that are committed to strengthening communities through youth development. At the Y, we believe that together we can ensure no young person's talent goes untapped in our communities. We know that for our young people to thrive, we need to provide safe spaces where they can learn and grow. Young people have 2,000 hours of discretionary time when they're not sleeping or in school, and how we fill that time is critical. At my Y on the University of Minnesota campus, I see that after school is essential because it prepares our students with the skills they need for college, for the workforce, and to participate in our democracy. However, 219,277 youth are alone and unsupervised after school in Minnesota. Minnesota has a widening opportunity gap when it comes to quality after-school opportunities. Our state has a 19 percentage point gap in after-school participation between lower income and higher income youth, and a 12 percentage point gap between youth of color and white youth. After-school funding is an efficient and cost-effective strategy for closing this gap. It meets the needs of youth facing barriers to access, and research shows that these youth benefit the most from participation in after-school programs. Additionally, after-school programs emphasize partnerships and leverage additional investments. We estimate that for every dollar invested in our Beacons programs, we leverage an additional $3 through partnerships at the local level. In our Minneapolis public schools, the Minneapolis Beacons Network has served over 50,000 young people in our 20-year partnership. The Beacons Network is a collaborative partnership between the YMCA, the YWCA, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and community education to transform schools into active youth and community centers. While 50,000 young people is an impressive number, more impressive is the impact of these programs. In a recent 5-year longitudinal evaluation completed by the Minneapolis Public Schools Department of Research, Evaluation, Assessment, and Accountability, the impact of Beacons on student outcomes was clear. 91% of Beacon's youth graduated on time, compared to 58% across the district as a whole. Beacon's youth attended school 1 week more than their peers. Beacon's participation rates dramatically impacted referrals for student behavior. And all of this happened despite serving the highest needs schools and the more youth in poverty, serving 84% young people on free or reduced lunch compared to 50% in the district. Of our students, we also serve 20% of our young people receive special education services, and 34% are English language learners. In addition to the academic impacts, we help our young people to be healthy and connected to positive relationships. 90% of participants say that there's an adult at Beacons who helps when the young people have a problem. 80% of participants say they get to do things that help people in their community. And 96% of participants say that coming to Beacons has helped them to find what they're good at doing and what they like to do. And so the impacts are significant, but of course our best testament to the impact of after school are our graduates like Leah Yang. So thank you for supporting after school programs and creating the change makers that our state needs today and in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Ms. Yang? You already got a shout out. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and then proceed with your testimony.
My name is Leah Yang, and thank you for having me here today. North Minneapolis is recommended to be one of the places you should avoid when you come to the metro area, as crime rates are strikingly high. But this so-called dangerous neighborhood is where I call home. And like many of my peers, I'm what Tupac can refer as the rose that grew from concrete. I've been a part of so many after-school programs during my youth, which consists of being affiliated with Beacons, the YMCA, the YWCA, and Boys and Girls Club. These programs not only help me foster healthy relationships with my peers and adults that I look up to, but it also developed an ambition inside that I can become someone better given the environment that I am in. Many of the after-school programs provided to me were a resource to cultivate personal development, as well as learning how to prevent violence and build a safer community. In the 8th grade, I learned how to write my first grant report, helped create a bullying awareness intervention, and held my first art gallery. By the time I was in high school, I was learning to cook food that was not my mother's recipe, and went to camp to integrate awareness to community issues relating to violence and racism to youth of all ages in Minneapolis schools. Now, as I'm in my 4th year of college, getting ready to graduate this year, I've never forgotten to give gratitude to the mentors I was given in these after-school programs. After-school programs allowed for a safe space to let me grow into becoming the best version of myself as I continue to go through adversities in my life. Due to after-school programs I was in, I learned early on about ethical leadership, how to make change, how to take risks, what a healthy community should be like, and most importantly, that there is no comfort in the growth zone and no growth in the comfort zone. I am simply the living proof that with good funding given to the right programs that has a purpose to grow our youth to become the best versions of themselves, that we can all become someone who can be a rose that grows from concrete. We will love you to consider and support to pass this bill, as it will be an opportunity for greater resources to the youth who will continue to be the leaders of our future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. Ms. Yang, where are you attending college, and what are you graduating in the spring?
I am attending the University of Minnesota, and I'm studying kinesiology. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, Sade Barut. Oh, yeah, I did that badly, I can tell. My apologies. Welcome to the committee. Correct my pronunciation and proceed with your testimony.
Hi, my name is Sade Barrowette. I'm a senior at Park Center Senior High and in Brooklyn Park, and I currently serve as chair of the Brooklyn Youth Council. Almost 5 years ago, my family and I migrated here from New Jersey. Yeah, 8th grade. Jersey is the most densely populated state in the country, and growing up there, opportunities like youth leadership after school were practically non-existent, especially in the area where I lived. Upon my move to the Brooklyns, I found it very easy to acclimate myself to the community due to the sheer amount of opportunities and experiences I could be a part of and experience here. Attending programs like Brooklink Summer Youth Employment Program taught me many important job skills like building a resume and allowed me various networking opportunities. The Brooklyn Youth Council is a youth leadership group that has taught me facilitation skills, leadership skills, and I'm so sorry.
No, you're doing great. No worries.
Collaboration skills that has helped me change from procrastinating to being more proactive, like applying to colleges. I'm grateful to these youth programs, after-school programs. Most importantly, the Youth Council has taught me that youth like me can have a voice and make a difference, which seemed to be impossible because literally not many other youth have opportunities such as these. Just last school year, our council worked alongside of Hennepin County in support of Tobacco 21, a campaign taking action to raise the legal age of tobacco use from 18 to 21, making it less accessible to youth within the schools. The Youth Council has impacted me profoundly, providing me with enough insight to take on my future, learning to navigate what seemed to be the ominous world of adults, no offense, and being able to work towards change has been an amazing opportunity that I feel like all youth should have access to experiences and opportunities such as these. Thank you for your time and consideration, and please consider this bill.
Ms. Beerway, thank you very much. Representative Lee, one more testifier. Batting cleanup here?
Yes.
Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Carrie Dennison-Canine, and I'm the Executive Director of Ignite After School. We are Minnesota's statewide after-school network, and we aim to close the race, income, and geography-based access gaps to high-quality after-school programs across the state. We do this through advocacy, issue education, professional development, and partnership building. We have roughly 50 organizations that contribute to our day-to-day work through committee service, and many more who participate in our program offerings and events, many of whom are here today. I'd just love you to raise your hand if you're here, a part of the Ignite network, so that side of the room. I am honored to represent our diverse and our broad network to speak in support of House File 907 and to ask your support for a $12 million investment that expands access to after-school programs to roughly 12,000 additional youth through the after-school community learning program. We believe that regular participation in high-quality after-school programs can play a key role in achieving the state's world's best workforce goals to narrow the achievement gap, help prepare young people for college and career, and to make sure that they graduate. Recognizing the power of after school is not new to the state of Minnesota. Minnesota invested $11.4 million in fiscal year 02-03, and yet there has been no appropriation to the after school community learning program since 2008. And over the last 10 years, we've seen funding drop by well over $11.4 million. I want to share some information with you about what Ignite means when we say high quality after school, including some of the research that demonstrates the outcomes associated with after school participation. When we say after school programs, we are typically referring to group-based activities for young people in K through 12th grade that takes place outside the school day, after school, before school, and weekends, and also during the summer. That is intentionally designed to meet the developmental needs of the young person. And there's a growing body of research that demonstrates the unique role that after school and summer programs play in a young person's learning experience and how it contributes to positive outcomes. After school improves attendance, behavior, and core academics. It keeps young people safe in the critical after school hours, and it supports working families by ensuring that young people are engaged in learning so parents can focus on work. For example, I wanted to just point out in your packet that you have this handout. This is a really great overview of some of the research nationally that has been conducted, such as research by Deborah Vendel out of UC Irvine. It shows that regular participation at the elementary grades through 5th grade can close the math achievement gap for low-income kids by the time they're in 5th grade. It's pretty powerful, and that does attribute that impact to participation in high-quality after-school. I also next want to share some information on what research shows are the key characteristics and practices of these programs that provide these outcomes. So I wanted to note that in this bill, we're not saying let's fund any kind of after-school activity. We're really looking for programs that are tied to effective practices. Those effective practices include relationship-centered work. This doesn't mean that content and content expertise in these programs is not important, but really at high quality after school is relationship centered. Youth workers and youth work practitioners who work in these spaces really are focused on building the relationships that help young people feel safe, connected, motivated. Many of the young people here talked about those mentors and the importance of that experience. You'll also see that backed up by Deborah Vendel's research, where it shows that when young people are doing better in school, they're attending more often, that correlates or is connected to how connected they feel in their after-school program. And how connected they feel in their after-school program is connected to whether or not they say that there's an adult there who cares about them. So that relationship-centered piece is really important. Another piece is youth voice and choice. So after-school programs look a little bit different than other kinds of learning experiences in that that best practices require that young people have voice. I think Mary may have mentioned that they have a leadership council of young people who help determine what the courses are at the secondary level, and that piece is critically important. Also that there's a broad range of exposure to different kinds of activities. So after school helps young people explore and experiment with a lot of different topics like STEM, like the arts, and figure out what's my passion. And when they have that passion and excitement connected to school, they want to go to school during the day and do well as well. So that youth voice and choice is really, really important, as is participation. So we're looking for programs that happen often enough to see results, and also that intentional program design. So next I want to talk a little bit about how this particular after-school community learning program bill has been designed. And to note that it builds off of research and also from our implementation of the 21st Century Community Learning Center programs that you heard Mrs. Orline talk about earlier. Because every community is different in terms of the after-school assets and opportunities that exist, the bill allows for a broad range of organizations from schools to libraries, nonprofits, and cities, charter schools, private schools, all of the above, to be able to partner and come together to bring the best array of opportunities together for young people. It also allows, the bill is designed to allow young people to, for communities to apply based on whatever age they are experiencing the greatest gap and need in their community, so along that K-12 range. And the bill is centered around 3 objectives: to support young people to develop healthy behaviors, attitudes, and relationships that support them now and into adulthood, to develop skills necessary to succeed in post-secondary education and career opportunities, and to encourage school attendance and support our ability to meet world's best workforce goals. The bill requires MDE to operate a competitive grant process and to develop a grant competition. Proposals must at least demonstrate how the applicant is partnering to leverage different community resources and to bring that choice and array of opportunities to young people. They also must demonstrate how they will outreach to children to ensure the program prioritizes access to low-income youth, and how the program is designed to intentionally meet the program objectives as well as after-school effective practices. The department must award grants to ensure participation by children eligible for free and reduced price meals and award them equitably across rural, suburban, and urban communities. The bill also reserves funding for administration, evaluation, and professional development. Because research clearly demonstrates that after-school programs can only meet the objectives of this program if they are high quality, we believe it is critical to ensure that after-school programs have access to the technical assistance and professional development resources necessary to engage in evaluation and continuous program improvement. As the statewide after-school network, Ignite houses Minnesota's after-school effective practices guide. It's called Believe It, Build It. And we also lead a continuous program improvement process called Making Meaning with Multiple Data Sets, or M3. This is something that all 21st century grantees participate in. We would love to see that grantees of this program also participate. A RAND report shows that after-school programs provide cumulative opportunities to a child, yet not every family can afford after-school programs. Families with higher incomes have more opportunities for after-school, spending 7 times more on enrichment activities than do low-income families. The access gap to high-quality after-school and summer learning is an often not spoken about key in conversations about education disparities. As more research shows the benefits of after-school, we have seen the investments in Minnesota decrease, but we can change this. I hope you will join Representative Lee and all of us in the Ignite network and ask that you invest in our young people through after school by supporting House File 907. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dennison-Canine. Representative Murphy, you had a question.
I did, Ms. Zestro.
Ms. Zestro, could you come forward, please?
Mr. Chairman, I just very quickly need an explanation of what rocketry is and what MacGyver science is.
Ms. Zestro.
They weren't part of my curriculum.
Rocketry is building a small rocket, and it has something that will shoot it up into the air.
Oh.
And you can design different sizes, and I mean, there's small ones and big ones, and they're building it, and it's propelled up in the air through, they have a little thing they put in it that makes it go up.
I think solid fuel might be the term Ms. Zestro is looking for.
Okay.
And MacGyver science, Ms. Zestro?
And that's where they're doing different types of science experiments is what they do in that particular program.
Representative Murphy? I think it usually requires a bomb to be ticking at the same time. I wasn't a fan of the show.
And MacGyver is just the inventor of the, or is it a type of science? Or?
Well, no.
Ms. Zestro?
It's the name of it. It's
Oh,
TV star.
okay.
That's what they call it.
Pop. Pop culture.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thank you, Representative Murphy. Representative Erickson.
Ms. Zastro, please.
Oh, Ms. Zestro?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Murphy, I think MacGyver would be more in our era. He was a pretty good TV star.
That detective guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
From Minnesota,
Yes, and he's from Minnesota.
and he's cute.
He's good looking. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry for that interruption. But Ms. Zastro, your program is so excellent, and I've heard about it for a while. But I also wonder, do you then track, as you have these sessions for working on math and reading literacy, do you then check back to see how the MCA score may have changed because of the good work that you're doing?
Yes.
Ms. Zestro?
Yes, we do. We have a way of tracking through the MARS system. Every student has a MARS number, and so we can track their scores when they're released in the fall from MDE. And we have looked at their scores, and we can see if they've improved from last year to this year. And we do review that data.
Representative Erickson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and that's very good that you do that, because that really is what we want in the end result as far as these programs are concerned. My other question is for probably, maybe Representative Lee. Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry, Representative Erickson?
I'd like to ask the author of the bill.
Go right ahead.
So Representative Lee, thanks, and I don't know who all helped you with this other than Ms. Para, but thanks for making the language in your bill more specific. and more measurable, and I think attainable for our children. I particularly am looking at your objectives and moving from that vague language to something specific, but what do you intend by protective factors in line 2.1?
Representative Lee?
Mr. Chair, if I could turn it over to my testifier.
Ignite probably knows
Yep.
the answer.
Ms.
Okay.
Dennison-Canine?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Representative, yes, I would love to answer this question. So it's language that really talks about the importance of relationships. We talk about, in this language, connecting to caring adults and those protective factors that help young people stay away from making what we would call risky choices and behaviors that I think some of the young people spoke about today. Well, Representative Lee himself spoke about, staying away from drugs and other kinds of crime and things like that. So it's both preventing young people from participating in those activities, but also preventing young people from being victims of crime. So young people are most likely to be victims of crime between the time periods of 3 and 6. So this is about providing those protective factors so that doesn't happen. So that's what we're talking about.
Ms. Dennison-Canine, am I hearing the Search Institute in this
Absolutely.
terminology?
Yes.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Chair,
you.
yes. Thank
So, Mr.
Representative
Chair,
Erickson.
if I may indulge again, and thank you very much for that answer, Ms. Dennison-Kuhn. And then I have a question about why in line 2.7, you would choose that verb encourage rather than set a percentage of improvement in school attendance, since when we look at World's Best Workforce and we look at ESSA, now that is one of, consistent attendance is one of the factors, why you wouldn't make it a little more specific without requiring? So if you're going to encourage, I think that's a little bit too vague. I'd like to see you move that language a little more specific so that maybe you set a goal for achieving certain percentage of attendance, 85, perhaps 90. That gets a little high, I realize, for some of our children. But, if we could move the needle a little bit, and if you would comment on that, please.
Ms. Dennison-Canine?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Representative. As after-school programs, and yes, the research absolutely demonstrates that after-school programs can have impacts here, we wanted to use language that we thought from an evaluative perspective made the most sense for what after-school programs, how we hold after-school programs accountable in terms of how MDE would craft the evaluation plans around this. But I think that we would be open to looking at language adjustments there. I'm not sure about adding a specific percentage in the bill language itself, just because attendance challenges at different schools might look very different. Instead, we might want to have language that says something like improve school attendance, where that percentage can look different based on the school or the community that's applying, and they can talk about their particular goals that meet the specific needs of their community.
Thank you. Representative Erickson?
Thank you, Mr.
One last
Chair.
follow-up?
Yes, just a statement about perhaps you could take a look at, or districts, or if a district or a school is awarded the 21st Century Grant or the new grants that would come from the state as well, what their World's Best Workforce plans might lay out. And you could keep it encouraged, but maybe have an addendum that would ask them, the participants, to consider the World's Best Workforce plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Erickson. Representative Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Dennison-Canine, I had a quick question for you about the Ignite Network. I wanted to thank you for all of the amazing work that you're doing, but I was also curious, do you collect staffing demographics, like racial demographics of the Ignite Network in terms of who's serving the students? Is that data that's available?
Ms. Dennison-Canine?
Mr. Chair, Representative Richardson, we have done youth worker surveys in the past. I don't know that we've specifically asked about that particular question. We've done surveys that are more around access to professional development. But I almost wonder if it's okay to ask Beacons to come back, Jenny to come back up, because I know they have some information on how many of their staff, the demographics. And I would say, while it may not be characteristic across every single program, but I think that it shows the commitment in after school to make sure that our staff look like the young people that are served.
I think I'll ask Ms. Collins to connect with Representative
Okay.
Richardson
Yep.
offline.
Yep, that's great.
All right, thank you. Representative Hewitt?
My question, Mr. Chair, my question's for Mrs. Zastro.
Ms. Zastro. Long Prairie Gray Eagle is popular today.
Yeah, she comes down. My background is I spent a lot of time in that town, and I've always been impressed with it, primarily with the hospital, and that's where I'm going with this, is that the nursing shortage throughout the state is getting to all-time catastrophic levels. And I'm really excited about your nursing assistant program because many of them progress into nursing. And thank you for sharing your dashboard with me. It's exciting. Nothing ever bad comes out of Long Prairie. It's great. And so the question I have is, do you have a per pupil cost per your program?
Ms. Zastro?
We have looked at it, and I'm
You can follow up with Representative Hewitt
I don't want
offline.
to throw in, it's under $1,000. I'm thinking in that 700 to 1,000, but I need to it's been a while since I've looked at that, but I'm thinking it's somewhere in that number.
Representative Hewitt?
Real quickly then, it's a very high number, so without this assistance, that program would be devastating.
Ms. Zastro?
I would need to, check that out.
All right.
Our funding, I'll share that with you. We are funded, we have $308,000. That's what we're using for funding for this year.
Thank you, Ms. Zastro. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify either for or against House File 907? Apparently not. Representative Lee, before your closing statement, thank you for bringing youth here today. This committee is trying to center its work on youth, and having their voices here certainly advances that. So any closing comments, Representative Lee?
Just want to say, first off, thank you to the chair and to Representative Krisha for helping and, being co-authors on the bill, too. And this is such a critical need for the state of Minnesota. And I really want to say thank you to the many other co-authors on the bill, too. And, you have seen the impact that after-school program, high-quality after-school program have for many of our students. And really want us to really see how could we start, supporting other programs that were not funded at the federal level with state resources. I just want to say thank you to the committee for this opportunity to present.
Thank you, Representative Lee. With that, Representative Hewitt renews his motion that House File 907 be held over for possible inclusion in a future K-12 education omnibus bill. Thank you very much. Representative Edelson, let's talk breakfast. And members, there is a preliminary fiscal note on this bill, but it is not in a form that it just received it, and it's not in a form for publication. But Ms. Ahrens, can you speak to it as the team assembles?
Maybe your last
Mr. Chair and members, as the fiscal note gets more finalized, we will be happy to share that with the committee members. The preliminary estimates that we have, they are good for the program. I just want to make one mention that they don't include minute costs that would be required to help implement the program, and so the fiscal note mentions that those would be substantial, and so that will have to be estimated at a future date. But the preliminary estimate for the first biennium would be about $6 million, so for both years of 2020 and 2021. And then for the second biennium, the assumption is that participation would increase as the program moves forward, and so it could go up to more like $11 million for 2022 and 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Adrians. Representative Edelson, welcome to the committee. Would you like to move House File 1037 to be before the committee for possible inclusion in a later K-12 education omnibus bill?
Yes, Chair, and I would also like to move the DE amendment.
Thank you very much. Members, we have the author's amendment before us, the 1037 DE1. Representative Edelson, do you want to speak to the amendment at all?
No, it just gets it in the shape that I would like it to be in.
All right, thank you very much. With that, all those in favor of the DE amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. Representative Edelson, to your bill, as amended.
Mr. Chair and members, well, first of all, we are passing around treats from Patisserie Margot, which is a little patisserie in Edina that did a kickstart, and so really cool business. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, thank you for hearing this important bill today. Last week, we heard perspectives from several experts and advocates, from school nutrition personnel to leaders from Second Harvest Heartland, concerned about ending childhood hunger. One of them suggesting that Minnesota can do more to improve the learning day for children if we ensure kids are not starting their day hungry. Addressing childhood hunger and food insecurity is a bipartisan issue. I'm happy to report we have both Republicans and Democrats as co-authors on this piece of legislation. Let's just do a quick exercise. I know we've all been kind of sitting here for a while. How many of you here, and in the audience too, have gone without breakfast? Raise your hand. Now you have rolls, so that's good news. Sorry, guys.
And cakes and
I'm sure many of you would say it was hard for you at some point of the day to focus or pay attention because your body and mind was consumed with the idea of meeting one of your basic human needs. I'm going to get a little personal here because I truly believe in this legislation. I grew up to a single mom in poverty, which is surprising because I represent Edina now. Everybody has these stereotypes. We struggled with food insecurity, always visiting food shelves growing up, and always I had free lunch. On occasion, I would have free breakfast. But even then, some 25 years ago, I knew, like all the kids that got, other kids that got free lunch, that having breakfast down in the cafeteria before school held a stigma. Not only that, but you had to rush to eat. This bill helps normalize eating breakfast at school without stigma. House File 1037, as amended, takes a big step forward in providing breakfast to more children who could use another opportunity to get nutrition in their bodies to help their minds at the start of a school day. This bill does a few things. It creates definitions on what breakfast after the bell service in a school can look like. There's 3 different options a school can decide. It says that schools with more than 33% of kids eligible for free lunch qualify for breakfast after the bell. It says that schools must draw down federal breakfast dollars before the state kicks in additional breakfast reimbursement. That a participating school must provide breakfast free of charge to all students. This bill also asks the Department of Education to report back to us in 2 years about the progress of breakfast after the bell implementation and identify other barriers schools face in implementing free lunch for all the community eligible provision. With me today are experts on tackling hunger who want to add their support to this bill. I'd like to call my first testifier, Colleen Moriarty.
Ms. Moriarty, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Colleen Moriarty, and I'm the Executive Director of Hunger Solutions Minnesota. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members, for the opportunity to address you again today on this important issue. As we mentioned last week in our hearing on school nutrition, Minnesota has missed an opportunity to adequately support school breakfast in the past. Our national partner, FRAC, the Food Research and Action Center, just released this week their breakfast scorecard for the country, and Minnesota is in the bottom 10. The bottom 10 of states in this country that are supporting school breakfast or that have levels of participation. Low participation in the school breakfast program is costly on many levels. Students miss out on educational and health benefits associated with proper nutrition, and states and school districts miss out on up to $12 million in federal funding that is available to support school breakfast. We can and should provide incentives to schools to serve high-quality school breakfast and make sure that all students in Minnesota are ready in their school day to learn. The support for the Breakfast After the Bell program is the most efficient and appropriate way to deliver that meal to the numbers of children that we wish to serve. And eligible schools that participate in community eligibility will not only be able to afford breakfast, but lunch for everyone in the school. I cannot stress enough how important it is that schools who are eligible for community eligibility are enrolled in the program. The fact that there is a resistance to participate in the program has meant that we haven't had the kinds of funds available that are needed to support nutrition programs. And the state funding that is provided can offer breakfast at no charge to many low-income students. Minnesota would join other states and would take a lead in this effort to make sure that every school has students ready to learn in the beginning of the school day. Thank you for this opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Ms. Moriarty. Representative Edelson, do you have other testifiers?
Yes, I'd like to call Kelly Wolf. She's the Director of Public Affairs and Advocacy at Children's Hospital.
Ms. Wolf, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Wolf. I am the Director of Public Affairs and Advocacy at Children's Minnesota, and I am here today in support of House File 1037, the Breakfast After the Bell Initiative. And I would like to thank Representative Edelson for her leadership on this very important bill as well. Children's Minnesota is the state's largest pediatric provider of health care. We serve an incredibly diverse patient population with about 44% of our children reliant on Medicaid. That number is actually between 70 to 80% for Minneapolis and St. Paul Gen Peds clinics. Because of the diversity of patients we see, we know the unique and varied challenges our children face today. Many lack the basic supports that we know they need to thrive, such as safe and stable housing, access to reliable transportation, and adequate, healthy, and nutritious food. Over the last few years, our pediatricians and providers have seen an increase in the number of children and families who experience food insecurity. And as part of our mission to be every family's essential partner in raising healthier children, we started a social determinant of health pilot program called Community Connect. Working with multicultural, multilingual navigators, we work with families to connect them with our in-house food supports, as well as community-based resources such as food pantries and food shelves. Last year, 42% of the families that participated in the program identified a need for supportive food resources. We made almost 3,000 referrals out to community-based food resources in the community in 2018. And these are just the families we know that were willing to identify their food needs. So we know there are likely many, many more that experience food and hunger. As a healthcare system devoted solely to children's health issues, we know that access to nutritious, healthy food is fundamental to a child's development. Research shows that children who experience food insecurity are more likely to struggle in school, have increased absenteeism, and exhibit behavior and developmental problems. They're more likely to visit the school nurse, experience stomach aches and headaches, and are at more risk for mental health issues. They're also more than 3 times more likely to be overweight and obese, also presenting additional health complications. One study showed that hungry children are 31% more likely to be hospitalized at an average cost of about $12,000 per pediatric hospitalization. Offering free breakfast to all students in a way that they can easily access will help decrease stigma and shame and may eliminate disparities between food secure and food insecure children. Low-income children who eat breakfast at school have better overall diet than those who skip breakfast or even eat breakfast elsewhere. Additionally, we know that consuming school breakfast greatly improves their health and nutritious intake. We know that school breakfast participants are more likely to consume adequate vitamins and minerals, have lower body mass index, and eliminate symptoms of hunger. Providing breakfast to children when they can most easily access it is one small step that we can take in providing all children the best and healthiest start to life. Children should be children. They should spend their time focusing on playing with their friends, learning and growing into successful and happy adults. They should not be worried about where their next meal comes from or the shame associated with accessing those resources. So on behalf of Children's Minnesota, thank you for your time today and for this very important issue that you're considering, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have as well.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you.
Representative Edelson, do you have any other testifiers?
I do. Chuck Oshaki, from the principal of St. Paul Public Schools.
Good morning. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Yes, my name is Rebecca Bino. I'm from Second Harvest Heartland. Obviously, I'm not Chuck Ochaki. Unfortunately, Mr. Ochaki had an incident at the school this morning that needed to be dealt with. So I am here today to talk a little bit about the partnership that Second Harvest has with St. Paul Secondary High School, which is the school that Mr. Ochaki is the principal of. So Principal Ochaki's school and Second Harvest Heartland started partnering about a year and a half ago to help figure out how we could get more students eating breakfast at their high school. At the time we started working together, South St. Paul Secondary was serving breakfast in the cafeteria before the start of the school day, a little bit like Representative Edelson talked about. Despite the high need among students in that school, only about 12% of the students who are eligible for free and reduced breakfast were actually eating it on a regular basis. Principal Ochaki saw a lot of the issues that others have talked about that hungry children deal with and wanted to do something about it. So they decided and worked with us to implement a second chance breakfast. So now when you go into South St. Paul Secondary, students are actually getting breakfast between first and second period. There are 5 different kiosks located throughout the school where students can go and pick up a bagged breakfast, a grab-and-go breakfast as they call it, and then take it to their classroom and eat it in the first 5 minutes while kind of classroom announcements are happening. So this is one of the breakfast after the bell methods that's talked about, addressed in HR 1037. So previously, when they were doing breakfast in the cafeteria before the start of the school day, only about 250 students ate on a regular basis. Now with second chance breakfast, over 1,000 students are eating breakfast every day. Their goal is to have all 1,700 of their students eating. Mr. Ochaki told me that the difference that this has made for their students and their school has been immense. In his words, I am not sure why we did not implement this program sooner. It has been a life changer for our students. So obviously breakfast after the bell has a lot of impact and we look for your support. Thank you for letting me testify today. And I want to end with an invitation from Principal Ochaki himself for any of the members of the committee who would like to come and see Second Chance Breakfast happening in real time. He's welcome to have any of you come to the school and see what it's all about.
Thank you very much. Representative Edelson, any other testifiers?
Just one last testifier, Noah Atlas, please, from Minnesota School Nutrition Association. And he's my last testifier.
All right. Mr. Atlas, briefly?
Surely. Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Noah Atlas. I'm the Director of Child Nutrition for Anoka Hennepin Schools, as well as the Public Policy Chair for the Minnesota School Nutrition Association. Representatives, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I am speaking to you today as a representative from the Minnesota School Nutrition Association. Last week, this committee gave multiple groups the opportunity to speak about the benefits that feeding students can have on students' ability to learn. You also heard that while lunch participation in the state is good, there's ample opportunity to increase breakfast consumption, which means that students aren't taking advantage of it for many reasons. We know that students who eat breakfast are more productive, less disruptive in class, visit the nurse less often, and perform better on test days. I know this is a little cliche, but when it comes to learning, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The legislature's attention to this issue and financial support will send a strong message to school leaders and the public that Minnesota thinks fueling young minds for the benefit of their education is important and will drive educational improvement in many schools. We greatly appreciate the support that you currently provide to school nutrition programs and hope that you will consider this major step forward in ending childhood hunger by making breakfast more widely available to our guests. I hope that I can answer any questions that you may have about breakfast after the bell.
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. Representative Joachim.
I just want to say that I would encourage members to drop in on one of the schools that provides this. I happened to work at a school this fall that did, and it was a great opportunity for kids they brought the food right into the classroom, they settled down, they did morning work for the first 10 minutes, which meant a math sheet, and fine motor skills on the back, which was tracing in first grade. So not only were they getting breakfast, they were getting time to hone skills too before the teacher started the day. So it was killing a lot of birds. I shouldn't say that. It was doing a lot of things at one time, which were very beneficial to the students.
All right. Thank you, Representative Joachim. Representative Krisha.
Thank you. And are we done? Mine is just for the bill in general. So.
I believe we are.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Representative Krisha.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair, members, and to the author. Good bill. Love the concept. I have, because we're in a finance committee, I have some technical things, and I'm wondering if I can direct these to Mr. Strom or the House Research.
Certainly.
So, Mr. Strom, you pulled a report for me a couple weeks ago with fund balances for schools. And I was looking at 2 of my schools. Little Falls is 42. They have a current fund balance in their lunch account of $550,000, and then Piers has $330,000. I noticed with this program, respectively, Little Falls would get $82,000, and peers would get 60 or 6,200. I'm wondering, would these funds be eligible that they could pull out of their existing balance?
Mr. Strom.
Mr. Chair, I think actually the Anoka Food Service Director might have the best answer for you. There are lots of federal rules that apply to the fund balances in Fund 2.
Mr. Atlas, can you help us with this?
Yeah. Basically, the federal rules say that you cannot use federal funds to supplement a paid meal, basically. So when you get funds, those are to be used for the program itself. So in this case, you couldn't supplement a paid student's meal by using your balance. The other thing that I would say is those funds are there to replace refrigerators and coolers and freezers and equipment and things like that. So the fact that you have a fund balance keeps that program going without having to use general funds, but you're not to use those funds for that reason.
Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I understand, and I respect everything you said. How I do want to just add, we have to get creative around here sometimes, and I wonder if there isn't a way, because this will come against the target, and we're going to hear lots of programs. But I'm just wondering if there isn't a way for the bill author to look at all the mechanisms. I respect that schools have healthy fund balances. I also know with the way the finances are set up, you can't move things across. And so sometimes schools end up with balances that become unused. So I'm not going after your funds.
No.
I'm trying to be creative, but I wanted to ask that question.
No, it's a fair question, but again, you can't subsidize paid meals or other meals by using fund balance. And it's just how it is.
Representative Kresha.
One more question to the testifier from St. Paul. I think the one that was talking about the grab and go program.
Oh, and you can come to my schools anytime to see any of those programs.
Thank you. Mr. Kresha.
And I'm sorry, can you help me with the name again?
Rebecca.
Okay, I can do Rebecca. So here's my question. I'm working through this. I have 5 kids, been in the education. So, and Chair Joachim mentioned that these kids are grabbing food and eating and multitasking. It's probably, there's benefits to that, but I do have to ask this. Are there negative sides to that? I mean, I see we've got kids with cell phones. We're doing so many things at once. Are we now encouraging this multitasking behavior and rushing them and through that? And the other side of this is, if you're and I don't know how this works, and I'm trying not to throw cold water on this, trying to understand, but are they grabbing things and just grabbing maybe a bite of something and throwing the rest away? Is there high waste? I know what it looks like in my house. And I have 5 kids that trope through and all the other kids. And so I'm just asking about those mechanisms.
Rebecca.
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Representative. So the rules that would govern the food that's served to the kids would be the same whether they're eating it in the cafeteria before the start of the school day or in the classroom. So in terms of waste, there would be no difference between the programs. As to your question about multitasking, I haven't seen or read anything that would indicate that that is a problem.
Representative Kresha. Okay, thank you. Representative Detmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and also for Rebecca. I taught in the area of physical education, and I don't think I would want my students to be bringing their breakfast into the boys' locker room or out in the athletic fields. How is that handled in your school?
That's actually a great question, and I don't have a good answer to it, but I can.
Mr. Atlas apparently does.
One of the things we had to do to overcome that was in all of our secondary schools, middle and high, we had that same question. Band teachers don't want food blown into instruments, things like that. So we designed a meal that was grab and go, truly grab and go in a bag. And it's up to that teacher to say, you're going to put this aside for this period, and when you go to your next period, you can eat it. But we made it so that they'd be able to do so.
And,
Representative Detmer.
And Mr. Chair, could you give us an example of what's in a bag of grab and go?
Right.
Mr. Atlas?
A meal might consist of a cheese stick, a whole piece of fruit or cut fruit, and a muffin. It might be mini pancakes, again, always fruit, but it might be raisins, might be sunflower seeds, milk or juice. They have that option at breakfast. So things that aren't really spillable, that kind of thing. As a gym teacher, you would say, hey, grab a grab and go, or grab something that'll last through first period.
And
Representative Detmer, last question.
Last question, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And, I have both my brother and I were 18 months apart. We both taught for 30-plus years, and I have also a father and two brothers that also was a custodian in schools. Any feedback from the custodians in terms of cleanup and so forth?
Mr. Atlas?
Yes, there are. I can tell you that I had a principal at one of my schools who was very reticent. His custodian was very much against it. And when he retired and the new custodian had to take over, he was a little reticent. But when the program started, you make do. You make changes. You put garbage cans in hallways. You provide a bag that the garbage can go into. Nothing's ever perfect. I've had custodians tell me not to serve grapes because they'll be thrown down the hall. Things happen, and you have to make do the best you can, but I think because a custodian may be uncomfortable is not a good reason to not serve a meal to a guest or a student.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would testify either for or against House File 1037? Seeing none, Representative Edelson, any closing comment?
Just to Chair, to Representative Demmer's point, we actually have implemented breakfast after the bell at my son's school, and it's actually worked really well. We had the same concerns in terms of the custodian situation that you discussed, but it's worked well, and kids are eating, which I think is a goal for all of us. So thank you, Chair, and I hope this bill will be rolled over for possible inclusion in the omnibus bill.
Thank you. With that, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.